I'm Emily Voigt, and I spent 3.5 years pursuing the world's most coveted tropical fish in the wild for my book, The Dragon Behind the Glass.
The legendary dragon, or the Asian arowana. Somebody thinks about the Asian arowana as a pet and they would think that it is a cute little fish in a fish tank. However, the Asian arowana, or the legendary dragon, is an agent of chaos. What's up guys, Abhishek here from AV Studio, and today we are gonna talk about the history of the Asian arowana. We're gonna talk about what makes this hobby so obsessive. Yes, you've heard me right, we are obsessed about this hobby and we want to know why. So we'll start off with Emily Voigt, who is a famous journalist, and she had written one of the most sought after books on Asian arowana, The Dragon Behind the Glass. But before we go ahead, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, then please go ahead and subscribe to it. Also, as you know, we're running a giveaway on the channel wherein 2 lucky winners will get a box each of Wow Fish food from Bright Aquatics, and that which is owned by Shoraj Karmakar. And Bright Aquatic, as you know, is the exclusive distributor of Wow brand fish feed product for West Bengal, Jharkhand, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Odisha and Assam and Northeast. And all you need to do is put in the comment section why you like watching my channel and why do you like Wow fish food. A lot of people ask me what's the cost of the most expensive Asian arowana. I did read somewhere that the most expensive Asian arowana costed about $300,000 US. Let's hear what Emily has to say about it.
Often asked about the highest price that I know of that an arowana has commanded. I'd have to say, very tragically, that it was actually a human life. A young man in Malaysia was viciously murdered for his Asian arowana. He was found stabbed to death with his wallet still in his pocket.
Well, so you heard that. It's a bit shadowy, the entire fish trade. And it has been like that from a very, very long time. Now, why has it been so? So if I was to go back and pick up some aspects of Emily's book, she really spent over 3 years traveling through 15 different countries in the quest of this elusive dragon. So where did it all really start? She said that she had been to the Bronx, and that's where she met the pet detective, Fitzgerald. And she was in search of certain exotic animals that were being traded in the Bronx. And also there was somebody who was trying to sell his alligator fish on Craigslist. That's when Fitzgerald, the pet detective, brought up this legendary dragon story, and where she got to know that there's something like this, a pet fish which could cost millions of dollars. While she was not very interested at that time, but eventually it got her thinking, and she eventually went into the quest of this crazy animal called the Asian arowana. And she went all the way searching for this fish, and she actually wrote an entire book about it. In one of her sections of the book, she said that she had been to Arowana, which is one of the biggest fish exhibition events in the world. And she said she was surprised to see that it looked like something like the Westminster Dog Show. It was so crazy. And there was somebody who was bringing in 10 albino arowanas, and there was a motorcade with police guards trying to ensure that nobody really poisons those fish. She thought it's quite wacky that all of these things were happening for just one pet fish. So we can all imagine how crazy this entire deal is. So Emily Voigt also speaks about the kingpin of Singapore, Kenny Yap. Of course, he is the owner of one of the most largest Singapore Arowana farms, and he's legendary in his own way. Of course, for a lot of things. One of them, of course, being that he's brought in the lucrativeness of this entire Arowana business into this Arowana world. But at the same time, he's also been notorious about posting nude photos and videos, if I'm not wrong, with his ornamental fish at precariously strange positions, and they're available all over the internet. So that was something that Emily, of course, she speaks in one of her interviews, where she says that she met him in his natural habitat, and it was a treat to meet him, because the guy obviously is very, very obsessed and knowledgeable about the entire Arowana business.
At the center of the glamorous world of Southeast Asian aquaculture reigned a flamboyant Singaporean tastemaker known as Kenny the Fish, a chain-smoking millionaire fond of posing nude behind strategically placed aquatic pets. The fish's real name was Kenny Yap, and he was the executive chairman of an ornamental fish farm so lucrative that it was listed on Singapore's main stock exchange. Yeah, so Kenny really drew me into this story, and I was thinking back on it, and for me, he's a little bit like the Wizard in the Wizard of Oz. Singapore actually exports more pet fish than any other country in the world, so that it makes sense that I would start there, and he's kind of like the kingpin of this industry.
So for Emily, it took her a while to understand this entire story of how a fish can be so obsessed with, or rather, how can people be so obsessed with a fish. And to be very honest, it took me about 20 years of fish keeping to get into Arowana keeping. While I've had heard about this fish, and I knew that there was to be a chip inside it and all, but I didn't know any better about this whole Arowana thing. So something that I can connect to very well with Emily, who took a while to understand this whole deal about an Asian Arowana being that elusive, legendary dragon being sold for millions, and also being protected by the US Endangered Species Act. So what makes Asian Arowana so expensive? Well, a lot of people will talk about quality, the fin shape, the size, the color, the whatever. But let's talk about the real deal. It's quite a bit of a paradox. Way back in 1970s, the international community of endangered animals went into this spree about trying to protect these animals. And they went about banning a lot of these species and including them in the endangered species list, and that's where Asian Arowanas were brought into the picture. Now, why were they considered an endangered species? Because of the fact that they are a slow reproducing animal, and obviously it was slowly depleting in the wild. Now, one must wonder why, because at that time nobody really knew about Asian Arowanas. That's because it was just an ordinary fish that people would eat, and it was not even tasty. It was bland and very bony. However, people would still eat that, and hence the number of fish in the wild was reducing. So that's when in the 1970s, the international community thought of banning it. Now that kind of backfired, because that brought about the scarcity of the fish. And that's when the prices really started soaring. Of course, there is a lot of myths around it, that it brings good luck and so on and so forth. I don't know whether I really believe in those things. I keep an Asian Arowana because I love the fish. But do all people keep Asian Arowanas just because they like the fish, or there are other reasons behind it? Well, we want to talk about all of that in our next episode, and stay tuned, because there's going to be a lot more exciting things about why do we keep Asian Arowanas and why do we obsess about it so much. Till then, I'm going to leave you with a short excerpt from Emily's interview where she speaks about the shadowy world of Asian Arowanas. So guys, if you have liked this video, then please go ahead and hit the like button, and if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, then please go ahead and subscribe and hit that bell icon so that you don't miss out on the exciting new episodes that are coming up on this channel. So thank you so much for watching this one. Please come back to watch the part 2 of the series. Till then, peace.
The fish world is, it's a shadowy world. There's rumors of a fish mafia, and it's a fish that's kind of tied up with some different unsavory elements. And when I saw that there was all this high security in these fish farms, I was curious why. And it became clear as I started to dig into crime reports over the last decade or so. There was this wave of fish robberies that had been sweeping the region. Kidnappings, canings, all for lust of a fish.